All right. Hey, Athon authors and fans. This month is going to be an amazing month for releases, and we've got Tony Peak waiting to talk to us about the Eden trilogy that was released today. But we're going to start out with a couple other new releases whose authors we do not get to talk with, but are much deserved recognition. Kyle Anthony has the sixth mechanized box set that is releasing today. So this in military sci-fi is basically pretty much. You know what? When I can't talk, I should just read descriptions. So I'm going to go through the description of Sixth Mechanized box set. 300 years ago, a Lysan robot turned warrior sided with humans in the great AI war. He's one of few high-level sentients allowed to live. But all this doesn't matter now because he's on the run, and the innocent never run. Armed with emotion chip fueled determination and his beloved weapons, the general flees to a nearby planet where he must unravel a tangled conspiracy to prove his innocence. But that's easier said than done. So that's sixth mechanized box set that was released today. So go ahead and take a look at that one. Kyle Anthony, very talented author. The next one up is one that I've fortunately get to say that I've read. There's not many I get to say in Athon releases that I've read. I did read book one of The Houndsman. So if you're into lit RPG base building and pets, this is one for you. JPAL has done something somewhat unique in the lit RPG series. So if you like huddling into a base and leveling up all the equipment to defeat your foes, this is one to take a look at. Quick description: the walls might be high, but are they enough to protect the pack, his land, and its people? Flint fought over a decade in the Army's building division, gave him enough experience to complete the life quest. He was wrong. Restoring the slumbering fort and awakening proved no challenge for a man of his talents. However, protecting it and Leia's slumber from looming threats is an entirely different story. And last one before we get to Tony is The Fate of Rhea, Book 3 in Marshals of Rhea. This is, if you're a mech warrior fan of any kind, this is one to take a look at in the military sci-fi genre. Fate of Rhea, Book 3. Paragon, the mighty stronghold of House Lambda, is under attack. Marshal Biela of House Chi leads the assault, eager to make Lambda pay for all the hurt they have caused her and her house. But House Lambda, led by the ruthless and cunning Lady Leonar, is a formidable opponent that will not easily be intimidated. So we got to talk to Gus Harris-Reed just a couple weeks ago. Go back and take a look at that interview. And we sort of mused over our fandom of mech genre from childhood and teenagerhood. And glad to see that one is still getting some attention in some of the military sci-fi genres. So now we have joining us Tony, and he is going to tell us about Eden. Hey, Tony, how's it going?
Pretty good, John. How are you doing?
Doing well. So Eden, when we look through the reviews of Eden, a lot of them are saying for a futuristic sci-fi post-apocalypse, this is extremely original content. But I wanted to give you a chance, in your own words, to talk about the Eden trilogy.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks, John. The Eden trilogy is a post-apocalyptic science fiction trilogy. It takes place on a different world, not Earth. And it's, in a nutshell, these original colonists try to terraform the planet with nanotechnology, and it went amok. And you had nanite swarms kind of just take over the whole planet and force the ecology to evolve in different ways, the plant life, animals, everything. And a lot of the swarms were meant to maintain the society, like repair swarms that would maintain a road or build a house. But since everything changed, these swarms might build that house out of dead bodies and dead trees and just really weird stuff. And it's not really good or evil, but it's just they're following their program to their best ability, but it's it's went wrong. And in that you have Reyes, a guy, an idealistic scientist from a city that still exists and still has some technology, and Thanatar, a bioengineered hunter from another clan. They team up to try to find a solution to combat these swarms to help their different people survive. And in the process, they learn not only about the planet and its past and how this came to be, but about each other. So to me, that's what post-apocalyptic stories are really about. You can pine after the past and all that, but it's really about the people and how they survive that current situation. And to me, the best way to survive is to work together and learn about one another. Of course, have a hell of a time finding all the different creatures and whatnot.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
on that
very,
point.
very unique, very unique. I mean, you've got the run amok AI causes a post-apocalypse, but to put it on a different planet and to have the plant not only an alien planet, but an alien planet being twisted by an AI. I don't think I've ever heard of anything like that before. And like I said, some of the reviews just rave about it. Here's one from a customer. Wow, deep, well written, great character development, and completely original. Highly recommended. Talk about world building and great pacing. Just read the book! Exclamation mark. When there's an exclamation mark after read the book, you must obey. Uh, so tell us about some of the stuff that inspired this kind of book. Either books that you read that just inspired you into the post-apocalyptic genre as a whole, or sci-fi. What kind of things do you feel like influenced you as a writer when you were thinking about this book?
Oh, a ton of stuff. I get influences from everything. As far as books, some old school stuff like J.G. Ballard's Drowned World, The Drought, especially The Crystal World, and Station 11. Was really good in terms of characters living in a post-apocalyptic world. Television shows like The Walking Dead. I'm a big Walking Dead fan. Everything from video games like the Fallout games, which I love those.
Yeah,
Yeah, and even Horizon Zero Dawn, which I think was used as a selling point for this, in terms of this planet overrun by machines. And I don't want to give too much away, but if you played that game, the way a certain character is set up, that influenced a character in this book. But I kind of took it to the extreme and had numerous people like that. You'd have to read the book. I don't want to spoil that. But the influences are all over the map. And that's what I love about writing in general. It's not just other people's fiction. It's everything. You absorb it from everywhere. And I like to consume everything: books, movies, television shows, comics, games, tabletop games, everything. And all that just over time, just influences what you see on the page in my way.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So I think one thing that is key to a book like this, and it sounds like in the reviews you landed it solid. I wish, you know, normally when I'm editing the book or formatting the book or listening to the audio, checking for mistakes, I get to say, yes, I checked the Athon book, but I didn't get a chance. This one was developed before my time.
Oh,
So tell us, it sounds like you did a great job with the atmosphere. Building an atmosphere of a book is extremely key, and especially if you want any kind of suspense and any kind of alien feel to a book, the atmosphere is key. So if you could tell us about setting a scene or setting an overarching feel to a location, how does an author get that atmosphere done correctly?
well, for this book, there's two things I wanted in particular: the tension, the dangerous planet and the creatures that inhabit it, but also just a certain weirdness. And I should mention this: Jeff Vandermeer's Annihilation. I love that book, and I took an idea from that in terms of he would have this twisted phenomena inside Area X in that book, and I thought, well, let's just take something like that, but have it. These swarms I mentioned have built these things, and it's why. And it's just you'll come across just these strange mutated landscapes that these machines have built. You might have trees, deciduous trees living in a jungle. How do you get that? Just little things like that, and just strange life forms that live in the air. It just drip from trees, just massive mushrooms that may just devour an entire forest. And this isn't just for looks. That's part of the tension. The atmosphere is just danger, constant danger. You have to always be aware of your surroundings. The characters, if you make camp for the night, you have to pay attention to where you're at. The trees might eat you overnight, and it's not really an evil thing. It's just the nanites, that's what they're programmed to do for certain purposes. It may be a deconstruction swarm, and they'll pick you apart, cell by cell. but yeah, the atmosphere is definitely one of weirdness and danger. There's, like I said, it's not just the wildlife and the ecology; it's other people that are surviving that planet too. And page out of Mad Max. I love the Mad Max movies. You're always going to have some crazies in the wasteland, so to speak, that will shake you down for your money, your food, your supplies, or even kill you for it. So it's always that. It's one of those things like you encounter someone in the desert. It's like, ooh, who is this? Is this going to be a friend or foe? So I tried to maintain that sort of pacing with the atmosphere. And I'm very happy with those reviews that people enjoyed it for those reasons.
Excellent, excellent. So tell us, what is next for you as an author? You've got completing a trilogy is not a small deal, I think. So, but once you're done with one, I'm sure, as you're finishing one off, you're starting to get all these ideas, and you're like, which direction do I run?
Well, then Eden was my first published trilogy, and I'm very happy with that. Very proud of that. Very thankful to Athon for producing that. And my next project I'm working on right now is another trilogy for Athon called Redshift Runners. It's a different direction. It's still science fiction. It's space opera. It focuses on a band of pirates that they don't steal just for riches. They actually, will raid places for food and whatnot that have a surplus of it to take it to colonists on other worlds that are starving for various reasons. And some of the influences on that would be things like The Expanse books and the television show, which I love, EVE Online, whatnot, and it's some very gritty space combat, to where it's not lasers and things like that. It's more like rail guns and missiles and electronic countermeasures and things like that, of getting your ship just shredded to pieces while you're trying to fly it and either run a blockade or save your friends and things like that. So it's still a lot of the atmosphere in that is almost claustrophobic, where you have people, they're not looking out the windows of their spaceship, they're seeing everything via their radar, almost like a submarine, and it's I think Hunt for Red October in space at times,
Yeah, Hunt for Red October definitely gives you that tight, claustrophobic feel to it. And it's funny, I'm watching it. I don't like it, but I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Glad to hear you're continuing on with the series, and congratulations on getting this trilogy completed. And release of the box set normally means bigger, better times for the author. So, but yeah, everyone take a look at Eden, the complete trilogy by Tony Peak that we have just interviewed. And if you're into post-apocalyptic space, Horizon Zero Dawn was the one I was thinking of when we were describing some of it. If you're into any of that type of series, it sounds like we've got a very unique feel to a post-apocalypse here that the reviews are very good. So thank you for joining us, Tony, and we're looking forward to hearing more news about your next upcoming space opera. So.
Thank you, John.
All right. Well, Athon authors and fans, we'll see you next week. Again, we got some great releases this month, and you just got a taste of them. And once again, go take a look at Eden.